So our form is pretty much done, but I think it'd be a good idea to add a honeypot field to catch bots. There are packages out there to handle this, but I think that we can do it on our own. Django gives us 3 types of special validation on forms. We can validate the form as a whole. We use this if we need to validate 2 or more fields in relation to each other, like making sure that someone gives us either a phone number, an email address, or both. We can validate individual fields with custom cleaning methods. This is for slightly more complicated things than our next approach, but this is where we're going to start. And finally, we can use Django's built-in validators, or create our own. Validators are functions that take a value and return a specific error if the value is wrong. We'll talk more about these in the next video. You'll encounter field cleaning methods pretty often in the wild, so I want to start there. Let's go make our honeypot and make sure that it's empty.
So we have a pretty cool form and view combo right now. Our view shows a form, they fill it in, we get an email, they get a message saying thank you, and everything just works really well. So that's great. But our form right now is maybe a little bit prone to abuse, or even less abuse, more just misuse. We don't want to have like spiders, bots coming along, filling out our form and just sending us tons of junk submissions, especially ones that are like, comment bots like you find on blogs. So we need to prevent that. And one of the cool ways and fairly easy ways to prevent that is you provide a hidden input, an invisible field that normally is called a honeypot. And if anything's in that honeypot, then you're like, you're probably a bot. I'm not going to actually submit your thing. And we could do that in our view. We could add a field and then check to make sure that the field was empty. But that's a bad idea because we have to remember to do it. It makes more sense to do it in our form and just have our form do it for us. So let's add a new field that we'll call honeypot. And you can call this, Pooh Bear or bees or whatever you want to call it. And we're going to make this a char field. This doesn't really matter too much. And we're going to say required equals false for now. We're going to say required equals false for now, just because we want the field to be blankable. We don't want anybody to actually have to fill anything in. And then we're going to specify a widget on it. And the widget is going to be forms.hiddenInput. And the label, which is the text, if you look here, this one says name. By default, it just takes this and capitalizes the first letter. But we want to specify a custom label on this so that humans, if they ever see it, know what to do with it. And we'll just say leave empty. All right. So there we go. Let's go look at our form. And we don't see leave empty. But if we inspect it and we look over here, then now there is this new hidden field here called honeypot. It doesn't print a label because it's hidden. If we were to change something, if we were to change this somehow so it wasn't hidden, then that input would show up. We don't want that input to show up, though. We want it to stay hidden. So having this hidden honeypot field doesn't actually make it to where our form will fail validation if the honeypot's filled out. We could go and submit this and say bot at example.com and then let's inspect. We'll get into some browser trickery here. And I'm going to actually edit this. And I'm going to add a new one called value, and it's going to be filled with bees. And so now if I submit this, it still goes through. It still says thanks for your submission, or suggestion, sorry. So just having the honeypot didn't make us safer. This is kind of long. I'm going to break this down. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to stop messing with that. So how do we clean this up? How do we handle that? Well, we can override the cleaning method for this one individual field. So we can do def clean honeypot. And this will be the method that's called, when Django does the isValid, it basically runs through every single field. It looks for a clean and then whatever the field's name is, and runs that function, if it exists, that method. And if it doesn't, it has a built-in way of making sure like that a char field that's not left as required false actually has something in it, that an email field is actually an email, things like that. So in this case, it'll look for this clean honeypot, and since it now exists, it will run it. So what we want to do is we want to say that honeypot equals self.cleanData honeypot, because we want to get the data that's in there. And if there's any len to honeypot, if there's anything at all in there, then we want to raise a validation error. And we're going to raise forms.validation error. And we're going to say honeypot should be left empty, bad bot. Because it's probably a bot. And then no matter what, we're going to return honeypot. We have to send back the data. Or send, really we're sending back the form itself, but we definitely want, or the field itself, but we have to send all that back. Okay, cool. So now let's try this again. We'll put in bot at example.com, put in some gobbledygook, and then I'm going to inspect my form, find my honeypot, edit, edit attribute value equals, some binary. All right, cool. And then I'm going to submit it. Look at that. Hidden field honeypot. Honeypot should be left empty. Bad bot. And our stuff is still filled in. It didn't create a new email. If we were to look in here in our suggestions folder, it hasn't refreshed. Boop. Okay, so we have two because I submitted it once as Kenneth and I submitted it once as bot. We don't have a third. So that's the way that we can handle cleaning just one single field.
You can write a clean field method for any field in your form. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you need to clean more than one field and their validation depends on each other, you'll want to clean the entire form. We'll do that together in a later video. Now though, let's see how we can do this a little bit differently with a custom validator.